It's number 2 here.
I'm Brian Drever. He's David Sadowski, and Greg White will be with us down on pit road as usual as the riders are out on their warm-up lap. And Colin Edwards will start once again from the pole in an effort to win his first ever race here at Laguna Seca Raceway. Troy Bayliss will start third and will try to win his second ever. He already won the first one a little while ago, his 14th victory of the season.
Back on row 2, Eric Bostrom with Yates, Joust, and Ben Bostrom. Both Bostrom brothers having trouble in race number 1, hoping to improve here.
Young James Toseland will start alongside Matt Mladen, the 3-time AMA champion. And then we take a look at row number 4, where Doug Chandler goes with Martin Pettercini and young Chris the Stalker Walker, starting in the 16th position. Looking all the way back through the field, the riders now rejoining the starting grid. And Eric Bostrom riding up into his start position for this one. He will start inside row number 2. On the outside will be Brother Ben.
Eric Bostrom making some final adjustments to the clutch free play. Noriyuki Haga, focus. This is one guy that would love to win again here in America at Laguna Seca. The Aprilia Mille was definitely a match for the Hondas and the Ducatis. The nimble handling Aprilia a little bit too hot into turn 2 cost Noriyuki Haga. In race number 1, bikes are in gear, getting ready to go green, Brian.
Here we go. Colin Edwards from the pole. Troy Bayliss from the number 3 spot. They looks the best. Bayliss with the inside line to turn number 1. And it's a drag race into 2. Colin Edwards is going to come out on top of this one, but no, Eric Bostrom sweeps around the outside from row number 2 to take the lead.
That's what Eric Bostrom was hoping for in race number 1, but the World Superbike guys got him off the line. But this is exactly what Eric Bostrom needs to win here today. It'd be a huge victory for the American Kawasaki squad.
They missed the setup just a little bit, tire choice, whatever, and Eric Bostrom didn't have quite the weapon he needed. Bostrom out in front right now with Colin Edwards in second position. Quickly down to Greg White.
Now the deal with Eric Bostrom's Kawasaki, some broken shim stacks in the front forks. They have it fixed, and he's on his way. Brian?
Oh, man, there you go. Great report, Greg. We figured he'd get to the bottom of it. Greg's been snooping around down on pit road, getting all the tidbits, and we'll hear a lot from him during this race about just exactly what went on between races 1 and 2. Off-track excursion. Ruben Joust. Runner-up finisher in race number 1. He's out. Well, he's down anyway. Sometimes these guys are able to get up and go again. But Eric Bostrom leading Colin Edwards and Troy Bayliss. Yes, Joust is returning to pit road right now for some attention.
He's already had his pit stop and back out on the racetrack, but he'll be a solid lap down. Look at Eric Bostrom stretch it out over Colin Edwards and Troy Bayliss.
The Kawasaki consistently the fastest bike in trap speed down the front straightaway. Bayliss challenging Edwards because he sees Bostrom getting away. Bayliss wants the double. If he gets it, it would be his 7th double win in a single season. And he is working on the 17 wins in one season set by Doug Poland in the early days of World Superbike. He's already passed Carl Fogarty with 14 wins. Fogarty had 13 in a single year. Bayliss rewriting the record book single-handedly, but Eric Bostrom trying to rewrite history here at Laguna Seca.
Even to run up front on the Kawasaki, a monumental task. But this weekend here at Laguna Seca, that Kawasaki's been the fastest bike in the speed track.
Winning the AMA Superbike round here on Saturday. He's looking for a win now in race number 2, having made repairs to his Kawasaki that'll give him a better chance at doing just that. A glimpse there of Matt Mladen on the 101 bike, the GSXR 750 Suzuki. Oh, a little hitch on the gas as he's cranked on the throttle.
We're seeing a lot of that here this weekend. Guys are breaking the tires loose. 155, Ben Bostrom. He'll duck in and take over the 4th spot. Gets around Hodgson. Hodgson was holding him up in race number 1 on the early stages. Now Hodgson with some big horsepower up the front straightaway. That's one of the fastest Ducatis in the field. Now Ben takes a look up the inside into 2.
And Nicky Hayden does the same on the outside.
Noriyuki Haga is so fast through the center of that turn. It's where he had his problem, but he's still throwing it in there. Colin Edwards reeling in Eric Bostrom now up front. Where are you going to make your move, Colin? Because Eric Bostrom is so fast at corner entry. Only place that V-twin Honda can excel past the Kawasaki is up the hill.
Eric Bostrom still leads with Colin Edwards in second, Troy Bayliss third, a three-way battle for the lead, a four-way battle for fourth position, and it looks like we might have 7 bikes up front, maybe 8 or 9, because here come Aaron Yates and Matt Mladen on the charge.
Well, the thrill might be going for Eric Bostrom. He did a 1:31 lap time from a dead stop. That puts you on the second row in a 600 Supersport race. Now they're into the 26s as the tires get up to temperature. And they need to get to the 25s. 25.8s is what they're shooting for race pace.
Eric Bostrom leads Colin Edwards and Troy Bayliss at Laguna Seca. It was an all Bostrom year in 2001. Brother Ben frustrated a bit in race number 1. Eric's got his victory this weekend, looking for another.
Side by side through turn 11 go Nicky Hayden and Noriyuki Haga.
Out in front, Eric Bostrom, Colin Edwards making a move, can't do it. Bostrom's going to lead for the time being, and we will be right back to watch it all. Back at Laguna Seca Raceway with all kinds of action going on. Eric Bostrom still leads Colin Edwards, who tried him a couple of times on this last lap. Bayliss right there, but so is Neil Hodgson and the rest. They have all pretty much joined up into the lead group of about a half dozen motorcycles. All the way back to 7th place, Nicky Hayden in the lead group.
Look like Bostrom keeping Noriyuki Haga at bay, trying to work his way up to the leaders.
Colin Edwards making a move.
There
Hodgson
goes Nicky.
inside. Nicky up 2.
Nicky around Ben Bostrom. And Haga was past too. I miscalled that. That was Hodgson now trying to dive side by side for the lead. Colin Edwards will dash in, wash Eric Bostrom. He does not want to give this lead up. And they were side by side through turn 3 on the last lap. Colin Edwards tried him. Eric said, no way.
Oh, the Honda he gets on the gas so early coming off the corner. He gets out in front. Here's Ruben Zhao circulating alone and out of the top, roughly in 20th position. After he had an off-track excursion at the top of the corkscrew on the very first lap.
Look at this dice up front. Even better than race number 1. Hodgson up the inside of Bayliss.
That's for third. Neil Hodgson taking it away. On the HM Plant Ducati, taking third position away from Troy Bayliss, the points leader and defending World Superbike champion.
Bostrom setting up Colin Edwards for the entry to the corkscrew. A real risky place to take a pass. He'll wait on it.
This is the first time you could say that Colin Edwards and Eric Bostrom are actually racing against one another. Yes, they've been in races together before, but Eric Bostrom really dicing it out for the lead here.
Watch Noriyuki Haga. He's going to try Bayliss up the inside. Hodgson a little bit heavy on the rear brake. He slows down the drive of Troy Bayliss. Edwards is getting away out front.
Colin Edwards trying to escape after several laps like he did early on. Well, he tried to pull a breakaway move in the first race, but he was run down and passed by Troy Bayliss, who just made a move on Hodgson. Will it stick? No.
Whoa, Hodgson heavy on the gas at mid-apex.
No, and Bayliss goes right back inside again.
Awesome dice. Haga back there trying to get around both of them. Lap traffic coming up. World Superbike guys a little more sportsmanlike and looking over their shoulders and letting the fast guys pass, but one little hiccup for Colin Edwards. Be just what the doctor ordered for Eric Bostrom.
The lap rider is going to be Ruben Zhao's teammate to Troy Bayliss. We'll see if he just lets him go or whether he gets in there and mixes it with him.
Ruben so strong in race number 1. Unfortunate crash up in the corkscrew, but we've seen a lot of that going on this weekend.
They're flagging him off. They have the blue move over flag, very much like in stock car racing, and they're flagging him over, and he moves over and lets the leaders go by. Ruben Zhao saying he loves being here in Northern California. He's from Spain, of course, and he says, it's great. I go to restaurants, get a chance to speak Spanish to everybody. They all understand me. Colin Edwards.
Heavy speed through turn 10. These guys have broke into the mid 125. Colin Edwards anyway, the 125.688. Oh, big mix up there with Neil Hodgson.
Bayliss recapturing the number 3 spot. Trying to stay away from Nori Haga, perhaps. He and Haga nearly got into it in race number 1, but meanwhile, Colin Edwards, with all the dicing going on behind him and trying to stretch out a lead, Eric Bostrom not letting him do it.
Ben Bostrom having a good race back there with Nicky Hayden. Ruben Chows trying to hang on to these leaders now that he let the first 4 go past. He will hinder the advancement of Ben Bostrom and Nicky Hayden.
They're going to have to pass him nevertheless, even though he is a lap down.
Race number 1, our leader Colin Edwards complained of the rear tires being different amongst the first 3. He, Bayless, and Chows all had 3 different Michelin rear tires on the back. Said he was missing 1% and able to beat Troy Bayless. So maybe this 1% is coming in the form of an American fellow rider blocking Bayless's advancement to the front.
Eric Bostrom chasing the leader down the hill, and you're on board with Nicky Hayden in 6th position.
He's got to put the move on Ruben Chows into turn 10. He'll set him up for the inside into 11. We'll see if Nicky Hayden can blow past. There's Chows giving him the signal, Brian.
Yep, giving him the signal with his foot, so Nicky Hayden moves around the lap rider. He's still in 7th place. We'll be right. World Superbike Racing on Speed, brought to you by the Kawasaki's Ninja ZX6R, AMA, and FIM World 600 Super Sport Champion. Oh boy, we're having fun here in Laguna Seca. Glad you could join us. Brian Drever, David Sadowski, and Greg White helping bring you all the action, along with a cast of literally dozens of folks here that make this broadcast possible. Neil Hodgson right in the middle of the mix there on the number 100 bike, the HM Plan Ducati. Colin Edwards leads Eric Bostrom, and it's been that way for a while. Nori Haga looking for a way around first Hodgson, and maybe the rest after that. You got to think Skeeto, he's riding just a little more carefully. Doesn't want to toss it on the ground again.
Talking about Nori Haga?
Yes.
No, he doesn't care. He's going for it.
He was pretty casual about walking over there to pick that bike up. Once he got on it again, he was rolling pretty good. Then he went into the pits. Obviously, something was wrong with the bike. Race 1, a DNF.
Kind of a chess match going on out there right now, Brian. These guys know that it's going to be a tire problem towards the end of the race. They're trying to ride as smooth and consistent as they can. But this pace is being forced into the low 125 bracket. There's no way you can avoid a tire meltdown. Going to try him here up the inside of the corkscrew. That's where the Ducati's able to stretch its legs out and pull up on the Kawasaki, but I think he wants to, but he can't.
Or it's just too early. All the way through this season, we've seen Troy Bayless just save and make one move. Pass, check out. That's been pretty much the way it's gone for Troy Bayless all year.
That seems to be his call, is these 2 laps to go light. Right now, he's got to be concerned with Colin Edwards. He has a pad in the points lead. We told you he's riding with an injured back. He's trying to diminish the effects of that. In his interview after the race, said no big deal, I got it handled. But you mess around on the backside of Eric Bostrom for too long, and Hodgson and Haga are going to come past him.
Eric Bostrom.
There he goes.
Yep, Bayless coming up on the inside down the straightaway. Bostrom's fighting him away.
Ring the Kawasaki. Easily 15,000 RPM up into 5th gear, 2 downshifts for turn 5. This is where Bostrom is really strong on the entrance to turn 6.
Back up front with Colin Edwards now, and Troy Bayless made it look just that easy. Passed Eric Bostrom and caught the leader all in just a few turns. Bayless now looking on the inside, clear over the white stripes. And to the top of the corkscrew goes Edwards, the leader. On board once again with Bostrom.
Whoa! There goes Hodgson.
Ah.
He stayed on track, though.
So Colin Edwards leads Troy Bayliss. A big mistake by Neil Hodgson.
Haga side by side with Eric Bostrom over the blind rise of turn 1. Bostrom really having to fight off the advances of Noriyuki Haga. We'll see how he does when we come back from the break. Stay with us on Speed for World Superbike Weekend at Laguna Seca.
Fighting for all he's worth to get on the podium at this point after leading the race, getting passed by Edwards, then Bayliss. He's trying to hold off Haga, Hodgson, and the rest of the World Superbike regulars.
Eric Bostrom slowly creeping back into the 126 lap time range, and the other guys are consistently staying into the 125s. Just a matter of time before Bayliss is going to put the move on Edwards. Spins the rear tire that time. He won't have a shot at Edwards up the front straightaway this time. Hodgson fully recovered. Back, putting the pressure on Haga.
And Nicky Hayden at the back of this group now, trying to start his advance. He's still racing back there with Eric Bostrom. He had kind of lost the connection there for a while, but he's run him down again, and he's trying to move up. Nicky Hayden at the back of the field finished 4th in the first race. About as good, as you said, Ski, as he could do, considering that his World Championship teammate Edwards was just in front of him. And I talked to the crew and asked, did you suggest that he not do that? He said, we never told him a thing. He made that choice on his own.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he made it on his own. And it was a very clever choice for such a young rider. He'll work his way onto the World Superbike Tour soon enough. Probably spend one more year in America. Here comes Hodgson. Despite the fact that he's cooked his rear tire, he's still charging. This guy's amazing. Overshooting turns, getting right back on the throttle. Right on the limit. Past the limit, actually.
Haga drifting slightly back from Eric Bostrom now, and that's made Bostrom's job a little easier. Meanwhile, Hodgson trying to hold off the advances of American Ben Bostrom and Nicky Hayden.
Into turn 11, Nicky Hayden's going to try to get a drive here. The Honda not matching up too well with this Ducati horsepower on the World Superbike level. A little bit quicker than the AMA Ducatis, with the regulations allowing bigger throttle bodies. But Hayden around the outside of Ben Bostrom. Can he hold that position? Bostrom takes it back.
Nicky Hayden trying for all he's worth to race against Ben Bostrom. They raced a little bit against one another in AMA events before Bostrom used the springboard onto the World Championship team by winning a race here at Laguna while he was an AMA rider.
We had Damon Buckmaster in here helping us out in the first race. He said by about lap 9, the tires kind of take on their form of what you're going to feel for the rest of the race. Then the second half of the race, they drop off dramatically. We saw that happen to Colin Edwards. Hopefully he's chose a tire that'll last him just a few more laps than when he had in race number 1, because Troy Bayliss is putting some serious heat on the Texas Tornado out front.
Edwards and Bayliss both on Michelin tires. Eric Bostrom on Dunlops, Haga on Dunlops, Hodgson on Dunlops, Ben Bostrom on Dunlops, Nicky Hayden on Dunlops. So 2 Michelins leading 5 machines shod with Dunlop rubber.
There goes Hayden up the inside of Ben. Looks like he's going to be able to hold the position. Watch for Ben Bostrom on the left side, though, to ride a counter-attack up the front straightaway. Hayden holds him off. Great job, Nicky.
Hayden up to 6th now and closing the gap on the brakes to Hodgson and Haga, who are just in front of him. So now he's passed 1 World Superbike regular. Can he go after a couple more?
All the world is watching, and Nicky Hayden just passed one of the fastest World Superbike American riders ever to get on a Ducati, Ben Bostrom.
Bostrom with 7 career wins, 17 podium appearances, twice on the pole in 69 races on the World Superbike Tour.
Oh, Hodgson gets a piece of Nori Haga in turn 5. These 2 guys, there'll be some sparks flying from those 2 machines. And Hodgson makes it past up into turn 6.
Neil Hodgson lighting up the British fans on his number 100 machine, trying to get some ground, some distance, some daylight, some room in between him and Nori Haga on the PlayStation 2 Aprilia.
Never seen a rider adapt to the Ducati so well as Neil Hodgson. All the other bikes are in. He was always quite fast. in superbike, but they put him on this HM Plant Ducati, and he's a whole new man. He's charging for the front.
We'll come back. We're moving towards the second half of race 2 here at Laguna. Unbelief all over as Nicky Hayden picks his bike up out of the dirt, hits the electric starter, and off he goes again. This is what happened. You saw it once.
He had position on Haga, got over on the paint. He was trying to give Noriyuki Haga a little room. He knew he got in there a little too hot, but hit the paint and went down. There was nothing for Noriyuki Haga to do. Bad day for Noriyuki Haga all around, but 2 crashes. He was looking good.
And couldn't walk fast enough to register on the radar gun down here on pit road. But Nicky Hayden, at least, being able to hit the electric start button on the RC51, is going to get back out there in the race. He's being shown in 11th position right now. You're on board with Eric Bostrom in 3rd.
The approach into this corner is just so hairball. You've only got a split second to decide to make a pass. That's where Hayden tried to go underneath Noriyuki Haga.
And Hayden definitely, I think, in our minds, ski together, beginning to make an advance. He had been watching those guys. He had been saving his own tires, and he had been seeing where they were starting to move around. He had already passed Ben Bostrom for 6th position, and he was trying to get past Haga, who was definitely beginning to slide around a lot. And he just overcooked it in turn 11.
Yep. Nicky had a half a second probably to pick up on these guys. Still kind of in his bag of tricks, but it's not going to be done here today. The kid won't make his first World Superbike podium, but he was near to it.
He's 7 seconds. He's in 11th position, 7 seconds behind Doug Chandler in 10th. So we go back up front now as Colin Edwards continues to try to hold off Troy Bayliss. Looks a lot like race 1. Edwards was doing the job for well beyond this point in the first race. And Bayliss made his move and went on by. Bostrom doing the same with Neil Hodgson.
Eric Bostrom's doing a great job to keep these guys in his sights. Not losing much, maybe a 10th here or there, but when lap traffic comes up, it may help Eric Bostrom and Neil Hodgson catch up to Edwards and Bayliss up front. Look at the rear wheel in the air from Colin Edwards.
And Eric Bostrom, as he goes hard on the brakes and gets on the gas as quickly as he can, tucks in as tight as possible to try to...
Laguna Seca, he's trying to make up time in the corkscrew. Sometimes that could bite you.
They have found that 1% that he needed, but you have to think with Troy Bayliss so close. Colin Edwards seems to have put his head down just a little deeper and opened up a gap on Troy Bayliss, and Bostrom and Hodgson are come up right behind the world champion to see if they can challenge. You're on board with Eric Bostrom. Watching Bayliss's bike move around a lot.
Could be that Troy Bayliss got the 1% tire this time. It's not going to allow him to catch up to Colin Edwards. Couple laps here in the middle. Colin's going to try a breakaway. There goes Bayliss a little bit wide. He's double apexing that corner. But if he leaves the inside open again like that, Eric Bostrom's got that one stored away in his memory file. Look at the speed.
And the sparks.
Sparks coming off the toes of Troy Bayliss up front. Eric Bostrom's on the brakes all the way in this turn. You can see the bike on the left. That's Neil Hodgson. He puts the move up the inside. It's going to be real hard for Eric Bostrom to repass the 100 of Neil Hodgson.
But you know he's going to try. Very little inhibition in Eric Bostrom's game. Top of the corkscrew, past a couple of lap riders.
The biggest gap that Edwards has pulled out over Bayliss. Down through Rainy Curve, Eric Bostrom hanging all the way off that Kawasaki, trying to keep it to the center of the tire. Colin Edwards will get a lap time on him this time through some traffic. 26.054 for Edwards last lap. Tire wear taking a half a second off their earlier times. 26 flat again for Edwards.
But a 25.8 for Bayliss and a 25.9 for Hodgson. Is that handwriting on the wall?
I believe so. You can't get around the lap time. Stopwatch doesn't lie. Could be that Bayliss, just with that one little spin up on out of turn 11, cost him a few tenths. Eric Bostrom, just a heroic ride for him here this weekend. World Superbike and AMA Superbike.
Well, he could equal the heroic and heady ride by Nicky Hayden in race number 1 to get 4th position. Meanwhile, we go back and look at Ben Bostrom, kind of running a lonely race. He's about to pass number 72, Mark Miller, also an American out there riding the white Endurance Honda GTR 1000 or RC51 in a one-off ride this weekend for a privateer team. Bostrom goes around Mark Miller. They've raced against each other in the past here in America.
Bayliss still pushing that tire through Rainy Corner. That was both front and rear wheel breaking loose on him. Right in the midst of the throttle drive. See him modulating the rear brake. Almost hits Edwards. Edwards over braked to turn 11 there. I don't know if that was some kind of strategy to block pass. Edwards very good at motocross. See Bayliss heave on that rear brake pedal to try to keep him running into Edwards. 9 laps to go. Go ahead and ring the bell, Brian, because this is when these guys started duking out in the last race.
That's right. The fourth quarter, as we called it, about 7 or 8, even 9 laps to go. 20 laps out of 28 are complete.
Eric Bostrom's losing touch with his front 3.
Sorry, 19 out of 28. We're 9 laps to go, as it just said. There's your front 3. Bayliss and Hodgson now. They are not teammates. They are on Ducatis, yes, but 2 different teams. Edwards riding flawlessly and as well as he ever has in his career in this 2002 season. But like last year, he's just run into a buzzsaw in Troy Bayliss and the new Ducati 998.
Yeah, whoever wins this championship this year is definitely going to earn it. These two push each other more so than I've seen any pair of World Superbike competitors in the past. Bayliss just pushes Edwards past where he's ever gone. Some of the best riding you'll ever see in the world right now, and especially Neil Hodgson. He wants a piece of Troy Bayliss.
It's kind of like Ali Frazier on 2 wheels. The fight can. Colin Edwards and Troy Bayliss still going after it. Bayliss has not pulled the trigger yet on the one move you know he's ready to make. And Edwards knows it too. It's an all too familiar scenario for the Texas Tornado.
Colin Edwards real strong through the first third of the racetrack. This is where Troy Bayliss kind of wicks it up. In his approach to the corkscrew, especially up the hill here, the Ducati seems to be able to put a little bit more torque to that rear Michelin slick. He just ever so slightly creeps up on Colin Edwards into the corkscrew. From here down to turn 11, watch Bayliss. He'll reel in those 5 bikes and be right on the back tire of Edwards by the time they break for the final corner.
Nicky Hayden slipping from 11th back to 13th position. Apparently some minor damage done to his Honda RC51. So any hopes of moving forward be over. makes a mistake there, hitches up and gets.
Troy Bayless is feeling free. Inside.
As the spoiler in what has become a battle race.
Colin Edwards really not going out of his way to defend the inside line. Speed. These guys are in the 25. Back.
Hodgson having a look at Troy Bayless, and both of them trying to chase down Edwards. As long as Hodgson shadows Bayless, Edwards has a very good chance of staying in front of both of them.
Edwards is trying to figure out how that tire is responding to his drive out. Now Bayless side by side up into the corkscrew. He's going to go for it up the inside, but Colin lays off the brakes and takes the real estate away on the inside.
That's right. Colin Edwards blocking Bayless's favorite line across that curb. And now down the hill, he's opened up a little bit of a gap again. So Colin
big wheel spin there out of Edwards. Had to temper his throttle hand into turn 11 this time. See Bayless, he's setting up for the drive up the front straightaway. Not trying to go up the inside at 11. He's going to try to take him here with horsepower.
You know how badly Colin Edwards wants to win this race. You've seen it in his demeanor, his concentration. He's got the Stars and Stripes leathers and paint job. He wants to wave the American flag at the end of this one and win for the first time on his home track in America. Will Bayless allow it? That's the question right now.
He's trying really hard to get around Colin Edwards, but Colin's able to work those used up tires. They're at 126.1. Working their way back down to the 25s in the closing stages of the race. It's so risky, Brian, riding on these tires that have reached their limit.
Inside 3 laps to go here on the 2 1/4 mile, 11 turn Laguna Seca Raceway. Edwards, Bayless, Hodgson, they've been just like this for the most part for the last dozen laps.
Looked early on in the race like Hodgson had gone with some softer tires because he was spinning up and sliding all over the place. But he's had to stay back. There's been no opportunities presented to him by Edwards or Bayless to take a position change. So could be that Neil Hodgson may have the coolest set of tires out there right now.
And quietly in the middle of all of this, brothers Eric and Ben Bostrom have moved together into 4th and 5th positions. Oh, big mistake out of Bayless again, and a gap opens up for Colin Edwards.
That's just what Colin Edwards needed. Now Hodgson's going to take the position and balk him even further. You watch Troy Bayless, though. He recovers quickly. He'll go right after Neil Hodgson again. He's just going to wait for his spot. Hodgson's going to be real wide. He's going to make that number 100 HM Plant Ducati like a sidecar out there. Troy Bayless is going to have to do something pretty dramatic to get around him. You can see Hodgson using up all the racetrack. That was almost the perfect way through that turn.
Throwing a little dirt on Troy Bayless in the process, and Colin Edwards reaps the rewards. Bayless has grabbed his lunch pail and gone back to work on Neil Hodgson. Can Hodgson run down Edwards? That's a big question, too.
It's a big gap to make up with just 2 laps to go. Have a look at this. Into turn 11, second bike in your screen. Got on that paint. That's right where Hayden hit. They're trying to shortcut that corner and get to the center of the tire to wide open throttle. Look at Colin Edwards sliding through the corkscrew.
They all are. So Hodgson in second now, Bayless third. Bayless was working on Colin Edwards. Now he's got to work on another Ducati ridden by, and Hodgson with a huge moment.
Oh, Troy Bayless had a notion to go around the outside through turn 11, but Hodgson is blocking him. It's perfect for Colin Edwards.
Riding so hard is Neil Hodgson that Troy Bayless just doesn't know what to do. And meanwhile, Edwards is scampering away, and we're coming up on the final lap.
Hodgson back around on the inside. Bayless is not going to let him take it. Look at these guys pushing him off the racetrack. A knee and an elbow over to Hodgson. They're not fooling around.
Bayless gets by for the moment, but Hodgson is still looking. Positions behind them, so 3 Americans in the top 5, and what a race we had here today. We'll be right back with a lot more from Laguna Seca. FIM World 600 Super Sport Champion. Great crowd on hand for the winter interviews down in Victory Circle, so let's listen in.
Entertainment. And Colin Edwards, well, finally, I don't have to say you're in second place.
Yeah, exactly. First, I want to say hi, Pat. No, it was awesome race. I mean, I got out there and I felt like I could run on Eric. And once I got the run on Eric, I thought just try and get away. And you know, I mean, it's hard to get away when we're all running, you know, good. And It was tough. I just tried my hardest not to make any mistakes. Just don't make any mistakes. It's just like ice out there at times, you know. And it's just try and connect the dots, keep the tires in line, and made one or two little small ones, but not as bad as the first race.
The thing is, you've got him breathing down your neck all the time, haven't you? And the pressure is so on you.
Yeah, but I'm used to it, you know. I mean, hell, I've ridden with him all year, and last year it was the same situation. And no, I mean, you just get out there and you know, I mean, I followed him a few laps in the first race and see where his strong points were, and the end as I could. Not the
I tell you, if Hodgson keeps riding like that and attacking Bayless, it could be that Hodgson will be Edwards' best buddy.
It's been an incredible weekend, and we will leave you with some images from the weekend that we hope will last a long time after we say so long. And there are at least 100 people I'd like to thank personally for their help and hard work making these shows happen, and I will do that privately. For now, though, let me say that while we Americans are misunderstood in some parts of the world, make no mistake about the fact we love our motorcycle racing here as much as anyone. God bless America, and thank you for joining us. For David Sadowski and Greg White, I'm Brian Drever. We'll see you next time here on Speed.